Okay.
All right. Okay, I know that I'm going to be meeting with Mary tomorrow, and so what I want to be sure to do is to think about where Mary's focus will be. So, the last time I talked with Mary, it really was just about her teachers, and was she aware that her ratings were so high? Was she aware that her SPF indicated that she is a low-performing school district? So that's where I left it, and I know we've had a little bit of conversation since then. Based on that conversation, I think she's going to not be very surprised about some of the things that her teachers are saying about her as an evaluator right now. Not sure I'm going to need to revisit any of that. I think we can just start straight into this data and use the data to have our next conversation. I don't think I need to do anything to set the stage or clean anything up from our last conversation. So, when I look at the data-driven dialogue protocol, I'm thinking about my introduction. And in my introduction, basically what I want Mary to know is that today we're going to look at the survey data. And really, as a result of our dialogue, I hope that we can identify some of the discrepancies in understanding of the teachers, or maybe the perceptions of the teachers, and begin to identify some next steps. I'm thinking we'll have about 20 to 30 minutes for this conversation, and I am going to share the data-driven dialogue protocol with her. So I want to make myself a note that I need a blank copy of the protocol. That'll be a gift to her too. She's been wondering about using this in her building. All right. As far as background information, I know that in the email that went out, that I sent out, I talked about this being pre-assessment baseline. I want to be sure that she is reminded that this is a pre-test, sort of, and that we will have a post-survey happening in June, and that we're looking forward to sharing those results and having a similar conversation. All right. So as I go into phase one, I'm not sharing the data with her yet. I need to make myself a note not to bring that data out, because I know I'm so excited about getting her ideas about it. What I know is that she's already made a prediction. Her survey is fully a prediction of how she feels her teachers feel about her ability to evaluate fairly, consistently, timely, and accurately. So I already have that data. She doesn't need to make a prediction about that. I'm trying to think about what question I might ask her to get to that underlying piece about what led her to make some of those predictions. And I like the one in here about what were some assumptions you made as you were filling out this survey. So as she was filling out this survey, what was she thinking about, knowing that the teachers would be filling it out? So who was in her head? What was she thinking about? What were some assumptions she was making about this? I also am going to ask her that question, not only what were some assumptions as you were filling out the survey, but what were some assumptions that you are making about what your teachers said on the survey. So it's predictions about what your teachers said, but also some assumptions about what they were thinking about as they did this. It's a little bit different than if if the principal had not filled out the survey on her own. It's a very different conversation. So assumptions that you made, I need to make a note of that, and predictions. It's been a month now. She's been in classrooms more. What are some teacher predictions? Okay, and of course I'll take notes on that. Let me make a note that I want to take notes. All right. Oh, finally, I'm going to lay the data out to her. Do you remember that step? And the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is explain my coding. So I want to make a note about that. And I also am going to explain the 3 sections, and I'm going to go section by section I know that she's a whole to part kind of person, and so she likes to see kind of a whole section at a time. And that'll help her also see that I've coded the whole survey, so she isn't tricked by that. And then I'm going to ask her the question, what pops out? So let me make a note about that. What pops out in the timing section, what pops out in the feedback section, and what pops out in how prepared you are as an evaluator. And I'm going to make sure in this section to do what's probably the hardest part, which is keep focused on describing the data. Can't get into interpreting, we can't get into explanations, simply what pops out. Because I know there's time in this protocol to do that next. So I'm going to make a note that keep it description focused. Because I am very good at jumping in to that next step. All right. Another question that I want to ask her is, what is surprising in this data? What's unexpected? So let me make a note about that. All right. Now, we are to that part now where I do want to hear Mary's explanations and conclusions. So the first question I'm going to ask her is from this, and it's about what inferences can you make? I think the inferences will go right into explanations. And at the end, I want to be sure that we have some conclusions. As soon as I hear a few conclusions, then I'm going to jump into some theories of causation. I remember that training around that IEP, or the UIP development training around get to the root cause by asking 5 whys. I'm going to make a note about root cause here. And then, if she is feeling like she doesn't have what she needs, I want to be sure to offer some additional data. Does she need additional data? At this point, I'm going to really check in with Mary and see if she needs some time to reflect. I'll ask the question, do you need time to reflect? Should we schedule another time? Or should we just take a moment to provide the reflections right now and then set maybe 1 or 2 short-term goals or short-term steps, not even goals, a couple of steps, and then I will see if there's a way that I can be part of her support as we do that. All right, I'm going to go take some vitamins, so I am ready for this conversation.